Welcome to another episode of Truth Bombs and Heart Nudges. This is week 2 of reading from the book, God's Gift of Second Chances. It is chapter 2 this week. So let's just dive right in. Chapter 2. What is a second chance? What does it mean to have a second chance? I thought an actual definition might be a good place to start, but it is in 2 parts. So first, let's look at the meaning of second. So dictionary.com describes second as next after the first, being the ordinal number for 2, being the latter of 2 equal parts, next after the first in place, time, or value, next after the first in rank, grade, degree, status, or importance, alternate, the 60th part of a minute of time, a moment, or instant. Looking at the different definitions for second, the one that stood out the most to me was a moment or instant. The reason this stands out to me is because God can change everything in an instant. He can take your life, change it to be everything you could ever dare to dream, all in an instant. I believe the moment you ask God for a second chance, in that very moment you ask, it will be given to you. The 60th part of a minute of time is not the second we are looking at, but I had to make note of it because that is how God works. He always waits for the last second until we have finally given up on what we've been asking for. He always does things on his time, not ours. Being the latter of 2 equal parts tells me that my second chance will be just as equal as my first chance. It's never too late for God to change your life. In fact, his version will far exceed the first in every way possible when you allow him full access to your life, to your heart. Matthew 7:7-8. Ask and it will be given to you. Seek and you will find. Knock and the door will be open to you. For everyone who asks receives. The one who seeks finds, and to the one who knocks the door will be open. James 1:4-6. Let perseverance finish its work so that you may be mature and complete, not lacking anything. If any of you lacks wisdom, you should ask God, who gives generously to all without finding fault, and it will be given to you. But when you ask, you must believe and not doubt, because the one who doubts is like a wave of the sea, blown and tossed by the wind. Now, that doesn't mean you will magically be whole in that instant, but your second chance will begin in that instant. Actually, I am thinking, if you were listening to last week's, and I said that I wrote this book in 2014, and so now I'm looking at this, and I've grown since then. And on the part where I said, magically, you're always whole. You are always whole. The only thing that happens is you disconnect from the vine. So you're always whole. In order for God to give you a second chance, you have to be willing to allow him access to all that you have and all that you are. He will begin a work in you to help you let go of your past and to change who you are so you can walk into your future. You cannot walk into your future as the person that is disconnected from God. Although God could supernaturally move you back onto his path, you have to slowly make your way back to it. Sometimes you have to undo what you have done. Actually, let me rephrase that. You have to allow God to undo what you have done, because we cannot undo what we've done. We can make amends. We can learn the lesson. We can change direction. But God can undo what we have done. And, well, it depends. Sometimes he can, sometimes he cannot. Sometimes we cannot undo no matter what. It is what it is, and therefore we must learn from what it is so that we don't repeat it. So you didn't become disconnected in one day. It was a gradual process of mistakes, detours, and snares. So it will take time to change into the person you need to be, to move back to the path made for you. God will need to mold you into the new person who is equipped to walk in the new path. He will need to heal all of the pieces and help you see yourself with his eyes. This cannot be done on your own. Only God can mold and shape you. So the definition of chance, because remember we're talking about second chances. So the definition of chance, according to dictionary.com, is the absence of any cause of events that can be predicted, understood, or controlled, often personified or treat it as a positive agency. Luck or fortune, a possibility or probability of anything happening. An opportune or favorable time, opportunity. Chance is the absence of any cause events that can be predicted, understood, or controlled. We take a chance every time we step out of God's will for our life, every time we decide not to listen, every time we think we know better, every time something feels good. We chance disappointment and then wonder why everything is a mess. I'm not saying that things can't feel good, but I'm talking about things that you purposely do, like drugs, alcohol. There's many other things. But anyway, things that aren't good for you, but they feel good in the moment. That's what I mean. God is the one in control. He is the only one in control, the only one who can see the entire picture from beginning to end. He is the creator of the majestic, awe-inspired, the amazing. You can guess at who you are. You can guess at why you're here. But God is the only one with the answers. In order to understand your own life, you must look to God, for it is only when you have your focus on God that He will turn your life around. Chance could be described as luck or fortune. God does not need luck. We don't need luck. We need a God who loves us, and you have Him. Once you understand how God works, how His love is everything, this is where you find your fortune. God's love is your fortune. Satan wants you to believe you are not loved, that you are nothing. God could even love because you are bad fallen creatures and that you're broken and you're lost. You are not bad. Your actions or thoughts could be, but you are created by love Himself. God is all love, pure, honorable, and glorifying. With Him, you want for nothing. Satan is the fallen creature. You do not have to go down with him. You can choose to live. With God, all things are possible. You do not need to calculate the probability of His hand at work in your life. His will is the only thing of importance, so it is a guarantee that His hand is moving for the highest good of all of the time. He will not allow you to destroy or slow down His will. Nothing is going to get in His way. Everything will be just as He needs it to be. You don't have to try to make things happen. When you try to make things happen on your own, you lose your way because it's not up to you to make things happen, but to allow God to make things happen through you or around you. When you get in the way, God sits back and waits for you to hand the pen of your life back to Him so He can write amazing stories for you. He can do nothing unless you allow Him to. Let me say that again. He can do nothing unless you allow Him to. Now, there is the time where if it is in the highest good of all, that He will step in. Because again, His will is always going to be done. Not even you're going to keep Him from that. See, it's not going to keep it. Nothing is going to keep His will from happening. So remember that when you think that you've messed everything up so bad that nothing can be fixed. No, God's will is always going to happen. Always. God allows you an opportunity to change how you're doing things in your past so you can walk into your future. If you keep doing things the way you have always done them, you will stay exactly where you are now. It is our good fortune that God gives you a second chance. I find it interesting how you can turn your back on God, but He will never turn His back on you. He will always take us back. He's always going to clean you up. He's always going to love you with a love you cannot even begin to understand. Putting second chances together, you will get instant opportunity or instant fortune. Going to God in need of Him and allowing Him to write your life story. Repenting and acknowledging how far you have strayed off track is given back to you in an instant opportunity. God owns everything. There is nothing you have that is really yours. It all belongs to God. So when you humble yourselves to God and allow Him to place you back on your path and give Him all that you are, He takes you back into His arms where you are sheltered and protected. With God, you have everything. With God, you have an instant fortune. That's the end of chapter 2. So make sure you meet up with us next week when we catch chapter 3.